You won't believe what happens next. A one-of-a-kind little guy makes an entrance. What makes him so special? Mathieu reviewed students' future plans. Most opted for noble jobs. No one wants a high-risk coal monitor role. The doctor examined Mark's serious wounds, but hey, seeing someone care for him sure warmed his heart. He couldn't help but brag to the doctor, who just shook his head. If these kids still blame him, well, that's a lost cause. Mark countered that in comparison to his own pain, complaining about these poor students felt like jumping off the roof. He was talking about the kid who stabbed the old hall monitor with scissors. Mathieu asked Lana if Mark was a good guy. After pondering, he nodded in agreement. He sought the principal, hoping for 3 requests: exempt all students from punishment, handle the troublemaker himself, and spare their life. The principal thought he was quite cocky, but realizing Mathieu knew who did it to Mark, he had no choice but to agree and left like a boss. Mathieu felt like he was in charge, but fate served him a surprise. A bag incident made him wary of those little rascals. He walked into the dorm, where a boy was serenading with a harmonica. Mathieu asked him to sing it again or else have let him rest and go snitch to the principal. Under that threat, the boy had no choice but to sing again, while Mathieu helped him tune it. See what a music coach. A classmate asked about his sheets, but he avoided facing it. That night, he didn't sleep. Reality mocked too much. Those biting realities made him drop the baton, swearing off sheet music, but tonight's melody rekindled his dreams. A month later, Mark's condition suddenly worsened, and he had to transfer to a real hospital for treatment. Lildenia asked Mathieu if he would die, and Mathieu reassured him that everything would be fine. In class, no faced trouble. The principal's question was cringeworthy. Mathieu hinted from behind, but alas, he still scored a big fat 0. After class, the principal stopped little Mo, discovering he was actually taking notes, totally out of character. Turns out, little Mo was doodling cartoons that were way more interesting than the textbook, and guess who he drew? The principal. The result? Straight to the confinement room. Worse still, poor Nono had to hand over his belongings just for a hot meal. Teachers talked about Nono's life story. Turns out he's an orphan. His parents fell victim in the war. He always thought Dad would pick him up on Saturdays, and teachers pleading did nothing. Nono almost forgot he was an orphan. Just then, the students got rowdy, and the teacher yelled to quiet them down. Mistakes here meant punishment. Little Moss Mom came to visit him, and the teacher asked Mathieu to handle it. Upon seeing Little Moss Mom for the first time, she gazed from afar, soul nearly shattered. Mathieu understood emotions well and lied that little Mo was off to the dentist, sparing her worries. As their conversation deepened, Mathieu gained more detailed information. Lily was a single mother who had come on her last visit to give some clothes to little Mo. She was desperate over little Mo's behavior, pleading with the school not to shortchange him so he could have a warm meal. A few days later, Matthew's grand experiment began, assigning voice parts based on each student's turn. Noah, who couldn't sing, became his assistant, while the singing kids with 0 pitch helped with music sheets. Mathieu aimed for everyone to shine. Mathieu wrote each student's story on the sheets. This time it caught their eye. But student support alone wasn't enough. For smooth future performances, he needed the principal's approval, but the principal deemed it nonsense. But upon hearing Mathieu formed a choir, the principal, with a look of amusement, agreed to his request. When the rehearsals kicked off, the principal didn't let little Mo off the hook, using him as an example for a month's worth of cleaning. He secretly hid away to eavesdrop. This instance could turn out to be a major turning point in his life. Seizing the opportunity in an empty classroom, he quietly hummed the melody. Little did he know he had an incredible gift. The psychiatrist brought a unique gift to the school, a kid a bit off his rocker. The doctor warned the principal. Landon had abnormal mindsets and liked causing trouble, hence placed here for study. The principal took on this mess, ensuring the choir could run smoothly, while Mathieu needed to assert authority before Landon. Yet, his kind demeanor lacked intimidation. On the first day in class, Landon made a fool of him in front of everyone. Nonetheless, Mathieu wanted to consider his feelings, placing him in the baritone section. Little Mo's confinement was up. As he returned to his seat, Mathieu updated the parents they could come see him. He reminded little Mo he could expect visits on the first and third Thursdays of the month. Mathieu encouraged little Mo to join the choir and try singing a simple tune, but he just pulled a silly face. Mathieu said not everyone can turn into Mandan, and that stirred Mandan's anger, as he defiantly left the classroom. That day, as little Mo tidied his bed, Mandan appeared out of nowhere. feeling their stories were eerily similar. Little Mo's mom ditched him, wanting to live for herself, and Mangdon just dug the knife deeper with his insults. Little Mo saw his mom being dissed and jumped into action. That scene was cut by the school's duel. Consequently, Mangdon landed himself a timeout, but that punishment didn't erase Little Mo's pain. He snuck out of the school that afternoon. He dashed to where his mom worked and finally confirmed his suspicions. She wasn't the evil woman others painted, but a loving mom making sacrifices. After allaying his worries, he went back to school. Mathieu didn't blame him. At least Little Mo returned. Don't forget to subscribe.